We will be talking about the NHL's opening week. On Left Bench Sports.
Cave on, did Alex. No, the Dolphins are not frauds.
All right, we gotta restart
again.
Bad this defense has been. I do not trust them against the Dolphins at all.
Milwaukee Bucks joining the finals this year.
Got a whopping 52 fantasy points in Miami's route of Broncos country.
My 80-year-old grandmother could have broken more tackles and probably made more plays than Mahomes if they gave her a helmet and some football pads.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports. We'll be talking about the Dolphins winning against the Commanders, the Jets lost to the Falcons, college football, and the NBA.
The Miami Dolphins won their 9th and 3rd consecutive game against Commanders. The final score is 45-15. What were your thoughts of the overall of the game?
If they want to be a Super Bowl team, you got to destroy teams like the Commanders if you want to look legitimate, and that's exactly what they did.
Oh, yeah, 100%, especially for the Dolphins now being the top team in the AFC East. This is just an easy, steamroll of a game for them.
Yeah, exactly.
The Commanders are absolutely horrible. Comparing them to the Dolphins is just like, it's not even fair.
Yeah, especially when you have a guy like Sam Howell who can't throw a football.
The biggest bum in the entire NFL.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, the guy's playing, youth football in the NFL, as we said last week.
Tommy DeVito's better.
Tommy DeVito's top of the line.
Yeah. Well, let's begin our breakdown of the numbers side of the game.
Tyreek Hill unsurprisingly continues to walk over teams like a welcome mat and ends up with 2 touchdowns, 157 yards, and 5 catches. Tyreek's 2 touchdowns were impressive. They were 70 yards and 68 yards. Were incredible for most receivers, but light work for Hill.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't cover the guy. He outruns anyone on the field. It's just like stupid.
I mean, he's like a freak human. He's
not a human being. No,
he's not. He's not real.
Yeah.
The guy is just like some sort of animal that nobody knows how to describe. He can catches everything. He's faster than every human being on the NFL and on the field. It's just there's no way to describe the guy. He's incredibly fast, really strong, and he gets the job done every day and does it better than anyone else.
Yeah. The Commanders didn't manage to get a single sack the entirety of the game, definitely showing how strong the Dolphins' O-line is, especially Armstead. He's a beast out there. But also how much of a difference the O-line can make for an entire offense.
Tua played another strong, disciplined game with 280 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. His 2 touchdowns were thrown to Tyreek Hill, who had made 2 incredible catches. All right, so moving on to Tua. Another strong game from him. I mean, he's also a good QB, but considering the fact that he has, guys like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on his team, it makes his job so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the 2 fastest receivers in the entire game, it's not that hard out there for him.
No, these guys get open for him easily, and it just makes his job 10 times easier because he doesn't have to lead the passes over defenders, and he doesn't have to make any sort of hard throws, and it just makes life easy.
Yep.
For both guys.
Devon Achane has returned from his knee injury, and he's came back really strong. 2 rushing touchdowns and a total of 103 yards.
Considering his return from a 5-game recovery, how would you say he played?
I thought it was great. I mean, the guy, a lot of people had questions about if he was going to be 100% when he came back from injury. He was. He's just really something special for this Dolphins team. And when that the Mostert contract runs out, he will definitely be the number 1 running back on the Dolphins.
I mean, I agree. He's a very solid player overall throughout them. Especially with the Dolphins now, he's doing good. I mean, considering he came back from that injury, what were your thoughts on his appearance? I thought he looked a lot slimmer than normal.
Yeah, he might have lost some weight out there, but as a running back, you got to be quick, so it'll help him break some tackles.
100%. He's still doing the job and getting it done. That's all that matters at the end of the day, right? All right. However, the best receiver of the day was obviously Tyreek Hill, who had 5 receptions, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including the absolute 2 bombs from Tua.
Yeah, I mean, and the defense was pretty strong as well, only giving up 15 points. Sam Howell, as we talked about, was his awful self again. No touchdowns, a pick, and a mere 127 passing yards. The guy's just a bum.
He's terrible. He should be back in the youth PAL with the Pee Wee group.
Yeah, he's got to go play some flag football, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. The guy is terrible.
It was good for the Commanders, though, that they lost this game. They need to lose all the games they could lose here because they they need a new quarterback. They need Caleb Williams or someone from that draft for sure.
Yeah, they definitely need the pick for the draft because considering how bad Sam Howell's been this entire season, it's just undeniable that the fact that they need a new QB because he's just absolute garbage.
Yep. And obviously, Sam Howell does not have any sort of future in the NFL. Like, he's going to be on a practice squad. He's going to be in the XFL. He's not an NFL quarterback.
I mean, yeah, he should just be in the practice squad at this point. You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, he's a practice squad quarterback.
Would you say he's better than Tommy DeVito?
Absolutely not.
Tommy DeVito's the king of them all.
King of all quarterbacks right there. Best quarterback.
Forget about it, man. All right, that'll do it for the Dolphins coverage on Left Bench Sports.
Don't go anywhere. Jesse will be breaking down this week's Jets game.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Left Bench Sports. I'm Jesse Lincoln. Today we'll be covering yet another Jets loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I feel like I keep saying that every week. So let's begin. To start, I want to talk about the man who was actually traded just yesterday for some random reason. But, Tim Boyle had an okay game on Sunday. It wasn't bad. However, I think he could have done really good if it wasn't for the Jets' O-line letting pass rushers into the backfield every other play. This week they were just more of a disaster than usual. Didn't do a single thing all game long. Boyle was getting chased nonstop in the backfield, which is obviously no way to make plays and move the ball downfield. And on top of all that, I don't know why Trevor Siemian was on the field so much this game. I mean, he only fumbled the ball on 3 different occasions, but, still out there taking snaps left and right. And, of course, this really just ties back in with the whole O-line dilemma. I mean, you can't – it's too late now to worry about it because there's no chance that they get into the playoffs, really. But, now for the rest of the year, the Jets fans are going to have to sit back and watch their roller coaster of a season come to an end, hopefully put out the suffering with maybe one more win. But at this point, I would imagine that Rodgers just doesn't come back full time. I mean, I'm sure he'll get a few snaps here and there at some point during the remainder of the season. Maybe not a full game, but I think he'll get a few against Washington or New England. And, I doubt he'll come back and stay, but I don't know why he would. If I was him, I wouldn't want to come back to a team with a terrible O-line who'll get you nothing but another torn Achilles or killed. And, a mid-group of offensive skills, it doesn't really make much sense for him given the circumstances. But, we'll see because the Jets can always find a way to make a dumb decision. And as I've said before, I'm not a Jets fan, but having paid closer attention to them this year, it really has been such a sad sequence of events. They pay all this money to try and save their franchise with Rodgers and, of course, leave it to Zach Wilson to screw everyone over. But anyways, that's all I've got for you today. But don't go anywhere because Smitty and Jake are coming up in just a moment with their usual discussion on college football.
Welcome back to college football on Left Bench. It was championship weekend just a few days ago, and there's a lot of drama in college football. First, let's start with the games. On Friday night, we had probably the last Pac-12 championship, and it was a good one. I was definitely wrong about my prediction last week. I thought Oregon was going to take it because they've been hot and Washington's been starting to slow down, but Penix and Washington impressed me.
Yeah, Washington did get to a hot start. They went up 10-0. Their energy for the game looked way different from what it's been the last few weeks. They were balling out in the second quarter, which they made it 20-3. Then Oregon was able to make their way back and push down the field for a last-second touchdown.
Yeah, halftime takeaway was that Washington was just playing great offensively and defensively. They've been sort of meh the past few weeks, but they looked amazing in the first half of this game. Then third quarter, we sort of saw like what we've been seeing the past few weeks. No scoring in the third quarter from Washington. Oregon started to heat up. Bo Nix started to heat up. And Oregon took the lead after 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, like you said, they started heating up. Even in the fan-wise, the fans started getting loud. It started to look like Bo Nix was being Bo Nix. Yeah. He started leading them to a Pac-12 championship, except when in the fourth quarter, Washington sort of started to lock back in, and they started to pull it out.
Yeah, Penix balled out in the fourth. sort of locked back in. Dylan Johnson for Washington also went crazy, 150 yards. Great to see their running backs are doing well too. Final 3 minutes, emotions were super high. Penix was able to throw one and then made it 34-24. Just 30 seconds later, we see Bo Nix throw a pass to Tracian Holden, 63 yards to the end zone. I mean, that's just crazy. And then a lot of emotions when Washington gets the ball back.
Yeah, Washington recovered the onside kick, and Bo Nix he was looking really nervous. He thought he probably knew that they weren't gonna win, and his season and his playoff hopes were on the line. So obviously you would be nervous too. Like, you don't want your season to end, especially his last college game ever.
Yeah, he was hoping for another chance. Everyone was pulling for him to get another chance, but Washington was able to end it off.
Yeah, once they got that first down, he knew that was just a great first down by Washington to end the game there.
Mm-hmm. Got to feel bad for Nix. Played his heart out, probably his last year in college. But you got to also be happy for Penix. He's been going through a lot of injuries in his college career, so it's great to see that he's doing well. We'll talk about what the playoff looks like at the end, but for now we're going to recap the Texas-Oklahoma game.
There was not much really to talk about this game. Texas offense was just went off. They balled out this game, and Oklahoma State just didn't really stand a chance.
Yeah, I think we all knew Oklahoma State didn't really stand a chance. 35-14 at halftime. It only slowed down a little in the second half. Keelan Robinson cashed in for 2 touchdowns, and by the end of the game, Quinn Ewers had 452 passing yards. That's crazy.
Quinn Ewers just balled out.
Yeah.
Even though it was against a team that's not as good as them, maybe he would have taken it it lightly, but not he just balled out.
Yeah, he wanted that playoff spot. Also, good to see Arch Manning get in for a little.
Yeah,
I'm excited. Hopefully, he'll get to play next year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how he does next year in Texas. Maybe even if he actually starts next year, I think it'll be great for him to start.
Yeah, I think he should start. Final score 49-21. Texas gets themselves a playoff spot, and their offense should be really exciting to watch.
Yeah. Next game, we're moving on to the Bama-Georgia game. What a game here, right?
Yeah,
It was
SEC championship.
Yep, it was a big upset.
Yeah, at the start, UGA looked like they were going to dominate. They forced Bama to a stop, and they had a nice little offensive drive with a touchdown. So it started off really good for Georgia. Looked like they were going to pull. But Alabama stepped up, didn't allow another Georgia score for the rest of the half.
Yeah. Milroe started to heat up. He threw a really nice 28-yard pass to Miller, and he was also able to hit Burton at the end of the half.
Yeah, great pass to Burton, especially against his former team. Really took revenge here. Second half, Bama was able to hold on to 27-17 late in the fourth. Georgia tries to get back in the game with a late touchdown. But Milroe kept it moving, was able to end this game for Bama, and they take the SEC championship. Just a great job by Nick Saban, Milroe, and really the whole Alabama team to be able to overcome the adversity that they faced. Earlier in the season, they faced an early loss versus Texas, and no one thought they had a chance at the playoffs. They faced QB issues, but they haven't lost a game since and got themselves a playoff spot.
Yeah, moving into the standings or the playoff bracket, there was a lot of tension from this weekend and around. People were thinking, what is the committee going to do for the playoffs? And the standings were Michigan obviously at number 1, Washington at number 2, Texas at number 3, and Alabama at number 4. Putting out Georgia and FSU, that shocked a lot of people, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely shocked a lot of people, but I think they got it right. What about you?
I think they got it right because Bama obviously beat Georgia, and with FSU just losing their starting QB and a bunch of players, they're going to get blown out whatever team they play.
Yeah, I think the committee definitely did a good job. A lot of people definitely thought FSU got robbed just because they're 13-0. They should definitely get a playoff spot. But
they're just going to get blown out because they're not as good as the other teams they probably would have even got blown out by Alabama if they played Alabama.
Yeah, especially because the way they played against Louisville as well. Alabama beats Georgia. That means if you put Alabama in, you have to put Texas in, and then Georgia gets left out. So
Yeah.
I think committee did a good job. Heartbreaker for FSU, but playoffs will be exciting to watch.
Yep.
Just predictions real quick. Who do you think? What do you think the playoff will look like?
I think that Michigan is going to beat Alabama, and then I think Texas is going to beat Washington.
Personally, I think Alabama's going to be able to take Michigan. Just like the Georgia game, I think Alabama's going to be able to take it.
I just don't think Alabama's defense is good enough to stop Blake Corum.
Maybe, but Alabama's defense has been looking good, especially against Georgia. And I just like the way they've been looking recently. I feel like Michigan doesn't play that many good teams in the Big Ten. Obviously they have Ohio State, but I think Alabama will be able to take this one.
Yeah.
And then the other game, I think it could go either way. Really, I think Washington might have the edge. And then
I think my natty chip probably will be Michigan.
Hey, it's going to be doubtful, but I think I have Alabama.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got here for this week. No college football for the next few weeks until the bowl games. And next up, we have Luke and Myles talking about the NBA.
Welcome back to Left Bench Sports. Today we'll be talking about the in-season tournament and the effect it's had on the NBA. Well, Luke, we're down to 4 teams. We got Milwaukee, who I think everybody expected. Indiana, who I don't think anybody expected. New Orleans, they were a wild card coming into the year. And then the Lakers, who have been getting some help from the referees. But judging by the effect that it's had on the NBA, I think it's been great. I personally hated it when they instituted it over the summer. There's been a lot of competition. Draymond Green, he's been auditioning for the Royal Rumble this season. He's just been fighting everybody, taking everybody down every week. The one bad thing I'd have to say is the courts and the jerseys. Those are absolutely terrible.
Courts are terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible to look at. You're looking at the TV and it's like, what am I looking at? The courts are completely random colors. They're supposed to be City Connect colors, but it's just the Pacers one was blue and yellow for no reason at all. And the jerseys are the same thing. And yeah, they're terrible. As you were saying before, there's 4 teams left. And you couldn't really expect the Celtics to win. The Pacers have been playing really well. And the Lakers, they're always going to get help from the refs. They have LeBron. It's been his entire career. He's always going to get help from the refs. And now he's older also. So you couldn't ever expect the refs to go away from him.
Yeah, I think the courts kind of look like a highway lane with that little middle intersection, if you will, and the left and the right are the shoulder, but that's just what I think of whenever I see those courts. But, Luke, the tournament's in Vegas. It's on the 9th. Who's winning in your eyes?
I think the Pelicans will win. They seem I don't think they're the best team in the NBA right now, but they've been playing the best in the last week through this tournament. And they got some really good players who could just step up in a big one game. You see it's not a whole series, it's one game that's all you have to win. So it could really be anyone at any. That's what is great about this in-season tournament is that any team could win it because it's just one game you have to win to move on. So they got some great players. Zion obviously coming out of college, which was a while ago now. He was one of the biggest prospects ever, supposed to be amazing. He's just been always hurt and injuries have pretty much ruined the beginning of his career, but he could still be a great player if he ever stayed healthy. And Brandon Ingram is a really good player, and they got a bunch of good defenders also. I like their matchup against the Lakers, and I could see them beating either the Pacers or the Bucks in the final.
Yeah, they're not really playing the Lakers at this point. They're playing the Lakers and the refs, but I think they match up better than most Western Conference teams at least. Herb Jones, he's one of the best defenders, perimeter defenders in the league. He'll be guarding whoever they put him on, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, obviously LeBron. Nobody really matches up well against Anthony Davis because he's just a super prospect. With his size, his athleticism, nobody really matches up well against him. But I think Zion can, push him around. Zion, he's a big guy, and I think he'll do what he can. And I can see where you're coming from with the Pelicans. You can't really judge it on a 7-game series. That's what makes this so interesting. But Me, I have the hottest team in the league, really, the Indiana Pacers. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, budding superstar. But I think the real key to them winning is that Myles Turner, right? He's one of the best shot blockers in the league, one of the best perimeter or interior defenders, and I think he can move his feet as well as any center in the league, and he'll match up well against Giannis. We all like to say that NBA teams always care about the regular season, but these guys, you can see they really care. I mean, when they beat the Celtics on, I think was that Monday, the bench was acting like they just won the championship. So it was really good to see them that they care. But I don't know if I can see those courts and jerseys one more time.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost bringing like a playoff atmosphere into the regular season. It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's good for teams like Indiana who, we never know, but we don't think they're going to get into the playoffs. But because they're fans, they go to the stadium, it's going to be a good atmosphere. And I think it's really had a positive impact on the NBA. Well, what haven't you liked about the tournaments beside the jerseys and the courts?
I mean, not much. It's been pretty good overall. There's a lot of energy. Everyone's playing like it's the playoffs, playing like these games actually matter, not just a regular season game. No one's sitting out. We're also seeing people step up, like they do in the playoffs, like Tyrese Halliburton. He looks like a superstar. That looks like a mistake from Sacramento trading him to Indiana. And then Sabonis is really good, but he's not. Halliburton could be a real superstar in the NBA. They could hit threes. He's pretty tall. He does have a weird shot for him, but if they go in, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you can see he's made for the playoff moment. That's rare to see from a young guy his age. But the Pacers, we're predicting a Pacers-Pelicans in-season tournament finals, and I don't think anybody could have predicted that coming into the tournament.
It's really hard to predict this because it's one game. It's 4 games to get into the tournament and then 1 game elimination. So it's really going to be hard to predict before the season who's going to win this in-season tournament. Because overall, no one has any idea.
Yeah, the one thing I think they need to work on is the prize. I mean, $500,000, that's pennies for these NBA players nowadays. I think if you could guarantee at least a play-in spot to the tournament winner, I think that would make it a lot more rewarding because these teams like Pacers and the Pelicans, they're small market teams, and they don't get much attention. If they could just get a play-in spot or a playoff spot even, like the 8th seed, then I think that would make a lot more meaning to this in-season tournament.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Overall, I think the tournament had a positive impact on the league, and we're looking forward to the real championship in June. But until then, thanks for watching Left Bench Sports.